This comes from Lil Bob. What's up, Lil Bob? He said, what is the likelihood of crossplay for 2K22 and Madden 22? So I'm going to really kind of just address this with Madden, because I kind of think honestly, I kind of think it's across the board, but I'm gonna kind of make this more of a Madden kind of a response, so to speak. I think that at this point, if EA is not going to be in Madden 22, if EA was going to put it in Madden 22, that would have been one of the major features that they put forward already. If they would have talked about it, pretty much most of the stuff that's coming out about Madden 22 now is as little bit small kinds of bits of things that are just kind of creeping out. But the major features, which cross-platform would be considered a major feature because they haven't had it before, if that was one of the things in Madden 22, we'd already know about it. Second thing is, I don't think that 2K is going to have it either, nor FIFA for this year. So the way I'm looking at this, if you look at the fact that the show has it, games like Rocket League have it, and Call of Duty, Fortnite's had it for I don't know how long. Fortnite even has it with mobile. And there is some rumors that FIFA is going to be going cross-platform next year already. So I'm looking at 2022 probably is like the first year that you'll see Madden, 2K, FIFA, and pretty much all of the other sports games go cross-platform. So as they moved into this whole, next generation of systems, there's, some hesitancy there. Of course, you're dealing with new hardware, you're dealing with a lot of this stuff for the first time, and you don't want to step out there too hard, adding too many features. Like, I give Sony a lot of credit for taking on quite a bit this year in what was really their first real next-gen game with the show, having cross-platform, cross-generation play. And not only just that, they have cross-platform, cross-generation support for their saves for when you look at, like, the stuff in the roster vault and all of that. So that is pretty significant as far as I'm concerned. Like, that's pretty significant. So I love the fact that they did that, but I don't really expect for that to happen for everybody else until next year. So my comments are not actually showing the way I want them to right now. So I'll have to kind of just check back and forth on the actual YouTube video to be able to see the comments. It has to do with the way I started the stream. But yeah, so that's that in terms of whether or not when do I expect to see it. But I do think that it's a huge benefit for Madden, for 2K, for all of these companies to go cross-platform. Because think about it this way, and this is not like everybody, but this is definitely still something to consider. Think about the people who don't have the game, don't have 2K, don't have Madden, whatever it is, but they're kind of getting pushed to get the game, and their push to get the game comes from friends, right, who have the system, and those friends, this is not what we're talking about yet. Those friends are really, you got PlayStation and your friends have Xbox, and most of your friends have the Xbox and they play Madden on there, right? And you haven't bought Madden because for the most part you plan to play with friends, but since they're on different platforms and there's no cross-platform play, you don't bother to buy the game. Same thing with 2K or another game that's not cross-platform. The moment that becomes the way where you can just play everybody no matter what system they're on, I would expect that you would see a little bit of a spike in sales. Not anything too crazy, but a spike in sales for people who are in that kind of space. So I think that, like I said, 2022 is when I expect that to kind of become standard almost. All right, our next question. This one comes from Lennon Theus. That's my guy here. He says, do you think that Madden 22 or 23 and MLB The Show will have team expansion or team contraction like NBA 2K21? I don't know if I would say that 2K has contraction. You can just have smaller leagues. In my NBA, it's not like you can remove a team in the middle of your my NBA. At least not that I don't think you can do that. But I'm almost 100% sure that the answer for this year for Madden 22 and then the other games as well is that there will not be, well, obviously there's expansion in 2K, but I'm almost 100% sure that the answer is no, there won't be expansion in Madden 22. Again, just like it would be with the cross-platform, this would be a fairly significant franchise mode feature to include in the initial rollout. Because it was not a part of the initial rollout, I have to believe that it won't be there, at least not at launch. Now, that said, there is a chance that we could see it added post-launch. But see, that depends on how EA looks at that update, right? Because they said to me in one of our sit downs, and I think they've said it since on some of the podcasts that Andre Weingarten and some of the other guys have done. They did not want to add anything to franchise mode post-launch that would make you have to restart your franchise mode. Now, depending on how you look at it, perhaps expansion doesn't really make you have to add, do anything like that, because you could just say, okay, I'm in my second or third season. We're going to have an expansion team after this season's over. So it really just depends on how you look at it. But some fans might be like, well, if I would have known that, then I would have started my whole CFM, with an expansion team to begin with, because that's really what I wanted to do. Now I've played one or two, seasons with the Bears, and I don't want to just leave them because I feel somewhat attached or whatever. So it just depends on how you look at it. I could see EA rolling this out as something that does not need, do not have to restart your franchise mode for it. And I could also see them looking at it as something that, yeah, you do. Expansion is a significant addition to the franchise mode, though, because it might not be as simple as maybe somebody might think, right? The thing of it is you have to adjust the way the draft works. So the algorithm for the draft has to change because you have to consider a whole nother team. Scheduling has to be redone because now you have to schedule for a whole entire extra team. Free agency, almost every part of the league now has to, is going to need an adjustment. So that's a big deal. So I don't know if that's something that they would launch that they would, release post-launch. That seems like a feature that comes out when the game comes out. But I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I really do hope I'm wrong, because I would love to have that added in this year.